Welcome to SaharaTV once again, and welcome to the fast-tracked edition of the Skype segment. I'm sitting in as a regular host for this segment. My name is Kwesi, his son Baako, and with me in the studio to touch on some of the subjects as we also invite our listeners and viewers to chime in the discourse is Dr. Anyasi. Dr. Anyasi is no stranger at all on this platform. You're welcome, Doctor.
Thank you very much, Kwesi, for having me.
Anytime, sir. So let's start by talking about these subjects. Let's start with the story we just saw a while ago, the police bribery issue. Nigeria seems to have a lot of bad image, connecting with bribery, especially, and corruption. Are you encouraged by all these nice things that the police PRO is saying now? They have a website where you can report bribery and all of that. Are you impressed?
Yeah, first of all, I listened to Mr. Bayomi Shogula, and the police bribery and corruption is a big thing in Nigeria. It has become ubiquitous, and everybody knows that this thing happens. But now some of the campaign issues of the president-elect was corruption, insecurity, and all that. So now Nigerians are beginning to think about corruption differently, because the outgoing president never believed it. He thought corruption was a matter of perception. So he did not really take it seriously. But now it became a campaign issue, and everybody's saying that they want to get rid of corruption, which is very difficult. But what we can do is that we can, as much as possible, reduce corruption. Because, but how do we go about it? Because everybody's saying, the president-elect must fight corruption. But again, if you want to fight corruption, you must have the structures in place. Even within the police force, do have the structures to deal with these issues. Yep. And some of the structures, we have to go back to our history. How come in the 60s, 70s, and even up to 80s, the corruption issue was not this common. But from 85, when Babangida took over, corruption became a common thing in Nigeria. And so we had to look back. How do we deal with these issues? And then some of the things we found was that Babangida destroyed the structures in Nigeria. He destroyed the structures. And the biggest monumental fraud we have in Nigeria is the SSS and the EFCC. Those are monumental frauds. First of all, we found that the SSS was created by Babangida for his personal protection and to spy on the soldiers and all that. So then the EFCC was created by Obasanjo because to deal with his political enemies. Those bodies were not trained and facilitated. They don't have the capacity to deal with corruption and every other negative things in Nigeria.
What's the remit of, or what's the whole scope of their powers of the EFCC is what I'm talking about here? Do they have prosecuting powers, for instance, or they just like an investigative body and then they pass it on to, say, a prosecuting body to work on?
Like I said again, you have to look back for where these people are coming from. The EFCC was created by Obasanjo for personal reasons. In 2004, the man already had a premeditated mind that he was going to run for a third term. So to deal with political enemies and put them in check, so the man created the EFCC without adequate training, without adequate capacity. So EFCC, the SSS, we are all part of the police force. They have what they call the E-Department, or the special branch. And the special branch, if you look at it again, the special branch was the one that arrested and prosecuted Bribery in London. But the EFCC does not have the capacity and intelligence, the intelligent capacity to deal with these things. And then we go back to the police. The police has itself become politicized. And when you have a political police and with the members, every police officer become a politician, it's difficult to deal with, to not have issue of bribery. Because if you heard him, if you heard Abayomi Shogula, he said that there are some police officers who have been in the police force who have not been promoted for 10 years. He confessed that as much. Then there are some people who just jump the ranks. There are some people who have jumped the ranks with, so fast.
Because they're associated with politicians?
Because they're associated with politicians, they have godfathers within the police, or they have, they are from certain tribes or certain section of the country. So as long as you kill the professionalism, people get frustrated. And when people get frustrated, they have to have different mechanisms.
Let's bring it to everyday life, though. What can citizens do to check this? Because obviously, it's not something that people can sit in the offices to check. There are policemen on the ground. And like Shawari was saying, there are instances where they ask you for a bribe, and if you don't give it, you might even get shot. What kind of resistance should the general public have towards this unfortunate?
The answer to this is a complete restructuring of the police and the society itself. If we want to do anything, we have to restructure the system. Because taking it segment by segment is not going to help us. Because what's happened in Nigeria is that there's a complete distortion of a system. And this distortion, like I said again, was started by Babangida himself. And now we have politicians using the same system. So what we can do as the people is to look at I expect that the president-elect, because a lot of people expect him to fight corruption. What we can do is that to send a bill to the National Assembly. Now we're talking about, you see, corruption, insecurity, and terrorism. They are linked together, and therefore most countries are looking at it from the aspect of terrorism. And what we do is that even in the US here, we have Homeland Security. In Britain, they have the counter-terrorism police. So under the counter-terrorism law, you can deal with most of these crimes. You send a bill to the National Assembly and make it straight. That if you are caught with money laundering, maybe you go for 20 years. If you are prosecuted, then if you are caught with corruption, maybe 10 years.
What about basic cops taking money from people on the streets, stuff like that? What about civil servants asking for a tip before they sign your document for you? What about someone asking you to pay some figure before they endorse your passport? Things like that.
Not even that. That I said is going to, I have to look at it from a complete holistic view. That even if you look at the banks, the bankers steal your deposit. The bank CEO, they collect your deposit, and they have round tripping. There are a lot of criminal things that is going on in this country. But the best way to deal with it is to have an opportunity to send a bill, a counter-terrorism bill. If you send a counter-terrorism bill, you look at it from that angle, because these people, when they are so rich, you know what they do? They can take the money back, get militants, attack the government. That is why you find that with the money laundering and corruption going on, there's continue to be instability. Look at the Northeast. Look at kidnapping people in Nigeria. So to deal with this, you have to deal with it from in a holistic
point of view. Okay, let's touch on these other subjects really quickly before our time is already gone, unfortunately. But I'd like you to touch on the 12 soldiers who are on death row. They said that they were being starved. They've not been given food for days and days and days in a democratic dispensation. First of all, they've been sentenced to death for mutiny. Their lawyer is arguing that they did not, mutiny. They actually were protesting a situation where they don't have adequate arms to carry out the mission they were asked to go and carry. What's your take on this?
Again, it's within the military context. Within the military context, I think the military they have their procedures, which they have to follow. But the thing is that the ultimate thing is that the president has the right to pardon them, let them go through the process. But again, they don't value their human rights. Feed them, give them right of attorney, the
right of visitation.
The right of visitation, the family can visit them and all that. And when they are sick, make sure that give them, you allow the doctor to see them, people can, the human rights, people can go there. But ultimately, I think they're not going to die. they're not going to die. I think the president-elect Muhammad Buhari, he may finally pardon them. He may finally pardon them. Because if we can grant amnesty to the Niger Delta militants, people who killed and maimed people, I think these soldiers are brave, and we want to assure our appreciation that what they are doing, we really appreciate it. And the only way we can do it is we got to call on the president-elect that, listen, you can commit the death sentence, you can also pardon them, you know, you can warn them and let them go. I think Nigerians will give Nigerians will applaud it.
Okay. So finally, the other issue I want you to really touch on, Israel is sending away undocumented African migrants, offering them $3,500 and a one-way ticket out of Israel. If you don't take that, they say they're going to put you in jail for an unspecified term. Considering international law, is this even legal to start with?
Again, legality, international laws, you find that most countries have, except developing countries who are the ones that actually obey international laws. It is most, like the United States, Israel, they hardly obey international laws. So if you're talking about international violation, it doesn't apply to Israel. And so what we can do, what people can do is it's better to leave. If they give you a one-way ticket, leave, and then you go home and hopefully you'll be able to re-strategize.
Okay, so we have some callers on the line. We're going to give them a few minutes to chime in. We have Killian from Cameroon. You're welcome to SaharaTV. Killian?
Hello?
Yes, Killian, you're welcome to SaharaTV.
Nice to have you here.
Thank you. We also have Hansen from Geneva. You're welcome to SaharaTV. Hansen?
Thanks so much, Kwesi.
Thank you. And we also have Ezenwa from France.
We are welcome there.
And then Anthony, also from France.
You're welcome.
We have a French presence on the show today. That's great. So let me start with you, Killian. What's your take on the police bribery story? How can Nigerians combat corruption and bribery, especially, being as they cannot possibly trust the authorities to do that? What should the citizens themselves do? Killian?
I think there's been a trend since the last elections. We saw how social media played a very important role in getting the people aware, making their vote count. I believe we could replicate that particular success we have registered and take it across the board to actually watching what happens to us on a daily basis. I'm talking about police, not only police corruption at various levels, but talking particularly about police at this time. You know, I believe now Nigerians are more aware of their rights as far as elections are concerned. Why not take it to the area of security? What is my right as far as a policeman is concerned? What can a policeman demand from me at what point, and how far can he or she go? And not only that, one of the successes we recorded in the area with the use of this social media is that there were opportunities for whistleblowing. I mean, the authorities that were in place gave channels through which people could send in their problems, could send in their grievances, could actually bring up issues that were addressed. So for me, I believe the authorities in place should put in place sort of policing the police. I think there is on paper, and people will be able to come up and report such cases, be them basic cases like, you know, molestation on the road or high-profile instances. I think the social media can actually come in and play a role here. With the civil society, like we have people like those same organizations that have come up to tackle certain issues. I'm talking about things like they bring back our girls.
Okay, Killian. Like, you're in Cameroon. I'm sorry to barge in. I'm sorry to barge in, Killian, but you're in Cameroon. Let me ask you. Cameroon and Nigeria share a common border, and we read a lot about the activities of Boko Haram and all of that. This is a bit of a you know, a side issue. But let me ask you, what is it like living in Cameroon, do you feel like the menace is close to you? Briefly, though.
Okay. There is a lot of similarity between what is happening in Cameroon and in Nigeria. The guy in Lagos will only feel the impact of Boko Haram because the onions or granules that used to leave the north and come down, it has reduced. And the people that used to transit their goods through Lagos port up to Chad, their Maiduguri, business has been hampered. That's the same thing with Cameroon. Right now, I'm not in the north, but there are people in the north who are facing these difficulties. There are people in the north who have been moved to refugee camps and so on. So they are actually facing it, and the people here are more aware. The Cameroonians are more aware, and I'm sure you're aware that for the first time, I don't know if for the first time, but what they did, people have been gathering and putting monies together and sending this money to soldiers. I mean, hundreds of millions of francs CFA, billions have actually been raised to support these soldiers at the war front.
I see.
So the people are more aware. They understand that if the thing is not quelled up north where it is happening, it is going to get down.
Thank you very much, Killian. So, that's very informative. This is something that I'm sure is news to a lot of us. Unfortunately, our time is fast moving, ticking. We have to end this show in about 8 or so minutes. So I'm going to give the rest of my callers 2 minutes each. I'm sorry, to just make their points quickly. Let me go to Hansen in Geneva. Hansen, 12 soldiers are facing the death sentence for mutiny. They said they did not mutiny, but they were only protesting because they did not want to go fight Boko Haram with inadequate equipment. What's your take on it? Are the soldiers justified to refuse to go fight?
My brother, the most important thing when you sign to be a soldier, you know that what your assignment is to protect people. You need to go fight. Then in a situation that you know that you cannot be able, maybe some of the things that you need is not, the government are not providing it, the best thing to do is to resign. You don't go to the war front and run away. Okay, when you go to a place and you see that the profession you choose, in fact, that the government that are not providing what you need at that profession, all you need to do is to resign. But I want to say something concerning the police, bribery and corruption.
Go ahead.
It's very important to say this. It's true, I'm not in support of what police are doing. Okay, everybody, we are talking about it. Okay, even when I was in Nigeria, we do face it sometimes. But the question you need to ask is that, what is government is doing? Is there anything government is doing to enhance the welfare of police force in Nigeria? Go to their barracks. It looks like where mad people are staying. Some of those police people, they don't even have a good uniforms. Some of them they are wearing slippers on the road or sandals. So the issue is that all this thing has to do with the government. I live in Switzerland. If I tell you the amount a policeman is earning in Switzerland, you'll be surprised. Government pay them very well so that they can be happy to do their work. If I'm a policeman today, you don't pay me well, what do you expect from me? I'll go and take bribe. It's normal. So government need to hold responsible. They need to pay our police forces very well, equip them very well, then they will stop all this mess, collecting 5 naira or 100 naira on the streets.
Fantastic point, Hansen. I really think that's a fantastic point, because if the government pretends to pay people, people will pretend to work for the government. I really do think that's a fantastic point. Izenwa, let's ask you about the police issue too. What's your take on it?
Well, the issue of institutionalization, I believe that the ethics in the police have got to go. So I believe the government should try to put more discipline to the police situation to curb the menace, as well as my brother from Switzerland was talking about the welfare of them. If I have my way, I would have sent a photograph of a police station in one of the states in the east. If you look at it, my brother is like a mad people's living room. So the government should do something to improve it. Then food sanity, that's why I believe in the president of Bulgaria. If he can start the discipline from there, then those things are well improved, then if they are well paid, I believe once Nigerians contribute through social media and whatsoever, something can be coming out of good of it.
Thank you, Azenwa. And now let's speak with Anthony in France. Anthony, I want you to look at this, our question of the day, one of our questions of the day, and this is the one. The government of Israel is offering $3,500 and a one-way ticket out for undocumented African migrants. The government says that if they don't leave, then they are likely to be kept in a prison for an unspecified jail term. What's your take on this?
Well, it's really a tough one, because if you look at it from the point of the Israeli government, they have to do what's best for their country. Probably they've seen that a lot of immigrants are putting a strain on their economy, and they have to find a way to sort it out. They have to do something to make sure that they discourage people from coming in. But looking at it from another point of view, you have to look at it from a moral point of view. It's totally wrong, and I think it should be against, it should be a human right violation to do such a thing. But I guess every country sort of has its own laws that it can enact in order to be able to protect its own sovereignty. And I'm sure that other countries in Europe will probably start to do that, because the influx of immigrants from Africa is getting too much. Illegal immigrants, rather. It's getting too much, and I think they need a radical solution.
I see. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Unfortunately, like I said, we had an impromptu interview, and so it ate into our time, and we're not able to go on with this discussion beyond this point. However, next week, God willing, we'll pick up this issue again, and then every other issue that comes up, and we'll discuss it in detail. Hopefully, Rudolph Ogo Okonko will also be back in this seat. Thank you very much for coming on the show today, guys.
You're welcome. Please, I suggest to keep the Israel issue on for next week.
Yes, we'll definitely speak about the Israel issue. We want to hear
interested in that one.
Yes, definitely. We'll make an asterisk on it for next week. The last word is yours, Doctor.
Yeah.
Any of the issues you want to comment on quickly before we go?
Our concern is corruption, insecurity in Nigeria, and everybody wants the president to address it. But like I always say, we have to have the structures in place, because some of the structures we need is we have to decentralize the police. We have to have a good intelligence unit. We need a special court to address, to handle corruption issues. If we have special courts, then the judges will be trained, the prosecuting attorneys will be trained, and then the police will be trained to how to handle corruption issues. So hopefully the president, the incoming president, will think along that line. And then we need a proper education. We need to educate the people how to handle the issue of corruption. And I want to thank you for having us, and also appreciate Sahara reporters for what they are doing, and all the social media outfits out there. Nigerians really appreciate it, and then we hope you continue to go along that line. Please don't take it easy with the new, with the incoming government, because everybody need to put on their toes. And I want to thank you for having me again and serving Nigeria.
Thank you very much, Doctor. And it feels good when you hear people appreciate what you do, but I would only say that it's only our duty. It's for the love of our motherland, and we all want to see the day that Africans will stop traveling to places like Israel and be forced out. That's why we do what we do. Thank you.
We don't want to stop traveling to Israel. But
no, I mean,
we have to travel
under
legally.
the circumstances. Under the circumstances.
We have to travel legally and be able to get the respect that we need.
Totally. But I have issues with that, though, which I hope I can pick up with you another time, which is when you flip the tables, when a lot of Europeans are going to Africa, back then when they were coming to Africa to plunder, they did not need visas to do that. But today, you know, they are setting the rules. They always set the rules. But that's discussion for another day. I hope you oblige me on this particular topic some other time, and we will talk about it. Thank you so much for watching SaharaTV, for watching all of today's show. We're back next week, same time as we started, with another info and edutainment-packed edition of the Saturday Live Show. Until then, my name, Kwesi, is son Baako. On behalf of all the staff and crew of Sahara Reporters, SaharaTV, we say bye until next week. Take it easy.